Welcome back. This is the Gun Shop Show, and 'tis the season to give back. And so that's one thing I'm excited about this episode is we're giving you a chance to engage with some charities that are not only relatable in our category of guns here at your friends in the gun business on the Gun Shop Show, but also do really great things. But I want to remind you really fast, if you want to win today's prize, which is a $50 gift card, I'm just showing you the bill on screen because it looks more like
crispy.
Money. Yeah,
it's crispy.
Crunchy. You got to share the feed and tag 5 friends. So make sure you do that now. If you're listening on the radio or TV, jump over to Facebook, Liberty Tree Guns, and share that feed. So I want to introduce a friend of mine and the president of Charlie 22 Outdoors, a great organization, Scott Hedinger. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, of course. We've worked with you in the past here at Liberty Tree Guns, but I really wanted to take some time for our listeners to get to know what it is that your organization does exactly. And tell us, let's start with how does it get its name?
Charlie 22's name comes from a couple places. First, my father was a drill sergeant in the Army when I was a kid over at Fort Leonard Wood, and he was in Charlie 22, which is Charlie Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 2nd Brigade. And then the 22 also symbolizes the 22 suicides a day that our veterans are doing right now, taking place right now. Before that number's been 15, 17, 22, but we're not sure exactly what the number is. But 22 is what the nation uses, so we use that to signify
too many.
A day. Exactly, one's too many.
Right.
One's too many.
So we, in our last segment with our last guest, we talked about some of the challenges that veterans face when they leave active duty. Your organization is designed to serve those veterans, and tell me how you do that.
Well, our mission is to show hope, love, and a personal meaning that comes through God's grace, and the outdoors is a great way to bring people together. The suicide rate's obviously too high, and the veterans, when they leave the military service, come back to civilian life, and it's a very hard adjustment. And many of them have demons that they're fighting when they're trying to adjust to civilian life. I had a veteran come to our first event years ago who literally retired in October after 33 years. He graduated high school. A week later, he was in the military, and 33 years later, he was retiring. And I met him in January. He told me, I don't know what I'm going to do. Every decision from where I live, when I live there, where I work, what I wear, what I do has been made for me for 33 years. So now he's all of a sudden not having that done, and adjusting for him was very hard. Those that have seen combat, the PTSD is a very real thing for them. So what we do is try to get them to the outdoors, whether it's hunting or fishing or sailing or golf or NASCAR, whatever it is, around people who love them, and just let them release the demons that they have in their lives and ultimately come to know Jesus and then enjoy themselves while they're here and then not commit suicide.
What an extremely noble thing to do, and I have some theories on why I think outdoor activities especially are positive, but I wanted to say, I think for a lot of veterans, I'm sure they've lived, the military can be kind of a crude place as far as the camaraderie and the jokes. Yes. And the culture there is very manly and
a lot of testosterone.
A lot of testosterone, and when they're in combat areas, the humor becomes dark, and it's understandable. But I think what might happen for a veteran, if you said, "Hey, come to church with me," some veterans might think, man, I don't think I'm going to fit in.
Me.
I'm not going to fit in. I'm going to be potentially judged, or I'm not going to feel comfortable. But if you say, hey, come hunting with me, or come fishing with me, and then while you're there, you get a chance to have those conversations with those veterans, they're going to be more open, and then you're going to have that relationship with them to have those kinds of conversations.
Yes. Yeah, the outdoors is the draw. Brings us together, and then the fellowship is what's important. What takes place in the blind, around the campfire, at the dinner table, the drive to the blind, whatever it is, that's what's the important part. The outdoors is the draw, though, and if you preach at a veteran, you're not going to do anything. We don't do that. We let the camaraderie, the fellowship, just the experience take place, and that does the work in itself. As you said, they're leaving an environment that's very fast-paced, high geared. Where if it's combat, obviously, it's going to be extreme, and then to come fit in a church is not going to happen right off the start. And we just try to show them a different way, and the outdoors is a great way to do it. Being in a blind when the sun rises and when it goes to sleep at night, it's amazing.
It's been well proven scientifically that being outdoors is good for mental health. You can't always convince people that, but there's literal scientific reasons, from sunshine, from light patterns, from literally they've proven that dirt is healthy for you, for your mental health. So aside from all of the appeal of hunting and the sportsmanship of that, and getting an opportunity that a veteran might not be able to afford to do on their own, you've got the obvious direct benefit of the fact that if you're not okay and you're dealing with some stuff, the best place you can be is in the outdoors.
Agreed.
In nature.
For sure. Seeing the wild animals, listening to the world come alive in the morning, watching it go to sleep at night, being out in the outdoors with no lights except for the stars in the sky. If you haven't experienced it, you don't understand it. You have to experience it to understand what we're trying to say.
I have to say,
amazing.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I being outdoors is something that I don't know I need until I've been there.
So you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. I hear often when an event of ours is over, our events usually run 3 to 4 days, and by that last day, it's not uncommon to have somebody come to me and say, I didn't know what I was going to experience when I came here. I needed this. I was in a darker place than I realized I was in. Sometimes it's the very first hunt they've ever been on. We have a guy coming this next week who's never shot a deer before. He's going to go on a deer hunt, and he's never even deer hunted, so we're going to do that for him for the first time. We had an event in October at Roaring River State Park, had a World War II veteran there who caught his first trout in 75 years.
Wow.
And a Korean War veteran who was 86 years old who caught his first trout ever. So those are things we get to do. And what we do is, as I said a minute ago, the fellowship and all that's the important part. Mm-hmm. But what we get to do is fun.
Yeah.
We're out doing fun things and sharing God's grace at the same time.
Yeah, building some new, fresh memories of happiness.
When a daughter from that World War II veteran came to me the last day and just in tears and said, just can't thank you enough for what you've done for my father. And she told me the other day in a message that he still talks about it. Here we are in December, and he's still talking about the fish he caught in October.
Roaring River is a great example because that is a place for me personally where I can go to reset. Fly fishing or trout fishing for me is one of the few tasks that I can do, and I literally just exist.
You just focus on that. Everything else goes away.
Everything else goes away, and I try to do that with other things. I try to do it at home. I try to go for a walk, and nothing works like being on the river and seeing the birds and
that river is a great place to go do it too. That down there in that park is just amazing. We'll be there this Saturday, as a matter of fact.
It's a special place.
It really is.
I have it on good authority that I may be getting a canvas print of a beautiful scene of Roaring River State Park for Christmas. I've got
the word's out.
Yeah, I've got an inside track with Santa, and I hear that's coming from my office.
Are you going to be featured in that? Catching a whopper?
No, but it is a special place for me. I grew up in that area, and I can imagine for someone who needs to have a reset, has never experienced that place. I've described it as magic. I've heard other people describe it as magic. It is, you feel God in Roaring River.
Well, there's no for our phones, there's no cell reception down there. Mm-hmm. I know there are those that work down there. Ours do not. So when we're down there, it is literally us and the creation together. That's it.
I actually was disappointed when I switched carriers and I got reception.
You got a phone call?
Yeah, I didn't like it. So we're coming up on the end of the first hour, which means means if you're watching on KODE 12, you need to jump over to Facebook. Just go to Facebook on your app on your phone and type in Liberty Tree Guns, and you'll find the Gun Shop Show. We have a whole nother hour. We're going to continue to talk about Charlie 22. I want to talk about more of what happens at the events. I want to talk more about the veterans that they serve, and then most importantly, how you can contribute to that, because there's lots of ways that you can get involved, whether it's monetarily or with your time or simply with awareness and connections. That our goal today is to make more people aware of the organization and give them a pipeline to get involved when they see just how valuable it is for those veterans. Quick reminder that if you want to win this show's prize, and remember, this is just among the people who share. They're going to get a $50, that's 50, Liberty Tree gift card. And you can spend that on anything. You can spend that on 9mm ammo, 223. You can spend it toward a gun. That'll get you a $500 gun on a 90-day layaway. So that'll be your down payment. So make sure that you share the feed, tag 5 friends to get a chance to win. And when we get back from the break, we'll be talking about how to serve veterans in a really positive way and involving the outdoors and things that we love, like guns and hunting, right here on the Gun Shop Show.
The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. What is it? We don't know. The Gun Shop Show, the Gun Shop Show. Here we go, it's the Gun Shop Show.
Welcome back on the Gun Shop Show. We're talking with Scott Hedinger from Charlie 22 Outdoors, a great organization that serves veterans and takes them basically hunting and fishing and on different activities and events. So I want to make sure we break down in detail how this works. So give me an example of an event. How does a veteran get selected to do that, and then what do you take them to do exactly?
Okay, I'll give you an example for this weekend coming up. Originally, it was supposed to be a 3-day fishing event at Roaring River State Park, but the state has not allowing us to use the lodging there. So it's a 1-day event. But when we prepare an event, we'll have the date set months in advance. And then we'll have on our website an application that they can go to, as an event application. They complete the application, and then when it's submitted, it comes right to me and then 2 other board members. We review those applications, and there are several things we're looking for to determine who we're going to bring in. And when we narrow it down to, so say we have an event for 30 people, we'll narrow it down to 40 or 50 people, and then we'll select those together on who we want to try to invite. After that part's done, then I make a phone call to them individually and talk to them and make sure the weekend works for them. If they have to have help, if it's a family member, if it's a friend, do they need equipment, what all do they need, and then we start preparing for the event that way. So an event usually takes anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 months to prepare for. But for the veterans to be part of it, they have to go through the application process, and that's the referral anymore. We really don't do a whole lot of reaching out, honestly. We have over 300, actually approaching 400 applications right now on file. Wow. It's just the word's getting out more and more about us. So the application pool is there, and they range from everybody from as far back as World War II, as I said a minute ago, to the modern conflict, to guys who are still active duty that are able to come to an event on a leave or a break.
And you serve basically any veteran that could benefit from this. Do you sometimes serve physically disabled veterans? Oh, yes. The majority of the veterans we have come to our events, you'll see PTSD as an issue, and we do consider that a disability. But physically, walking sometimes is hard. Sitting down, hearing from hearing loss. Burns. We have one gentleman from Vietnam whose left arm is shorter than his right arm because they had to shorten it 2 inches after being hit over there. But yeah, physical disabilities is definitely something that we see. We don't limit it to any certain era. We don't limit it to disabilities. It's open to all veterans to apply.
Now, certain events require a certain ability. We had an event in New Mexico that took place in November for a mule deer hunt. That was a lot of walking. That was walking over miles and miles and miles of rough terrain. So somebody that had a limitation that way probably couldn't have done that one. But they're aware of that when they apply, that there might be things they need to take into account to know what they can do and can't do.
Yeah.
And when they follow you, go to your website. Even if the first event, say, hey, that won't work for me because of the date, or in the case of the physical limitation, this is a constant thing that you work on. So
yes.
I'm sure that it is limited really by the resources you have in terms of funding to make the event happen, volunteers and calendar dates that line up. But as far as that, like, the more support you can get, the more events you can do, I'm sure.
Yes, and that's where we're at now. We're to the point now that we're able to send people to places away from here to do things. As I said, we had a group go to New Mexico in November to go mule deer hunt. We had a group go to Kentucky for a whitetail. We had a group go to Oklahoma for a bear hunt. We've got one going to Michigan for ice fishing in February, working on an event right now in Arkansas for a bear hunt next year. So there, we're looking at 20 events this year. Even though this year has been a terrible year for a lot of people, 2020 has been a very busy year for Charlie 22, probably needed to be because of all the depression that's out there and anxiety. And we're adding more to it next year. We're preparing an event now for next September already in Colorado. It's a mountain fishing event.
Ooh.
And it's going to be a pretty incredible time there. But they're coming to us on a regular basis now. We don't do a whole lot of calling to set things up. It's brought to our attention. Somebody knows somebody, or somebody has seen us on Facebook or seen us on a show like this that wants to be a part of it. And they'll call me or call one of our board members and say, hey, I'd like to do something at our property for you guys. And then that's how it happens.
What surprised you the most about this venture?
How quickly it's happened. I always, we formed the ministry 3 years ago. We've been doing this type of thing for several years, but Charlie 22 was formed 3 years ago, and I didn't realize it would take a hold as quickly as it has. I knew it was going to be something people want to be a part of. When you start presenting to people the mission statement and what you're trying to accomplish, they want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the biggest surprise, is watching how quickly we've gotten to where we are. As I said, almost 400 applications. Our volunteer pool is large. We've got more people calling us to be involved, and that's been the most surprising, but at the same time rewarding thing, watching that happen, other than people's lives being changed, which is the biggest reward. But for me personally, as far as the ministry, just every day today, watching it take hold and people want to be a part of it, it's very, very cool.
Absolutely. When I'll use the Roaring River example because it ties into me, but I feel fortunate that my reason to go to Roaring River was not, I wasn't fighting any mental health issues. I didn't. I was fortunate in that my family was able to take me there, and I have a connection, and I've learned how to trout fish. And so when I see this event, I think, for me, if I could go volunteer and show what I know and learn to someone who may not have that experience, I welcome that. That's just what a great way for me to take something I was blessed with and pass it on. And I can imagine spending all day on the river, helping people tie on flies, teaching them where I would cast, what I would switch to at what time of day, because watching them, the people that I've had the opportunity to help catch a fish, some of them they don't even get it till they reel that first one in. This isn't fun until that moment. Oh, okay, I get it now.
Well, one thing I've learned over the years is we all have talents. And the talent that I would have, I probably would be able to organize and bring people together. But at our events, hunting events, fishing events, and so on, the people that volunteer at those things, that do the one-on-one with the veterans, are very talented, like tying a fly, or shooting an arrow, or shooting a gun, or whatever it is. So we're very blessed in the fact that we have people coming to be a part of these things that are talented in those areas. And when you remove yourself from the situation, like myself, when I get out of the way, I bring them together, then I get out of the way, let their talents take place. And then the reward for the veteran and the person volunteering is unexplainable. When you go into this with an open heart, and then your idea is to help serve those that are coming to it, you leave there blessed more than you realize that's going to happen to you. And it becomes almost an addiction. And after an event, 3 or 4 day event, it'll take 2 or 3 or 4 days for you to decompress and realize what just happened.
Yeah, I can
what
imagine.
just took place here.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have a website.
Yes.
Tell us what the URL to get to that is.
www.charlie22outdoors.com. And that's it. Because that's our website. And then on that website, you'll find more about us. You'll find all about our events are on there. The application to volunteer is on there. The application to come to an event is on there. There's a donation link on there. So it has a lot of information on there about us. And then our Facebook page is just search up Charlie 22 Outdoors on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and you'll find us in all those places as well.
Trevor, if you could pull up that website for
Absolutely.
me. Scott, tell me, what is the greatest need that you have?
Well, prayer is always the biggest need, to make sure that we follow our mission statement. We don't want to put anybody's personal goal or intentions as the forefront. We want the prayer to be that we always will follow the mission. The mission is to show love, hope, and personal meaning through God's grace. And then second thing is volunteers. You need people that believe in what you're doing, because this takes manpower. And somebody said to me, well, I don't hunt or fish. Well, you can still come and help serve a meal, or clean up, or tear down, or drive somebody, pick somebody up at an airport, go pick up items for us for the event. Third thing is places to go. As I said a while ago as well, they're coming to us now. These events are coming to us now. People are offering properties to us to use. And the fourth thing is money. I mean, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
We're everything that we do is through donors and sponsors. This year was a year that we weren't able to do our banquet, and that's a $35,000 night that we lost. So the donations and the sponsorships have been great this year to help keep us going. Those are the four things, though: prayer, volunteers, places to go, and then finances.
And even if you have everybody volunteering their time, it still takes money. It takes fuel to get there. It takes sometimes lodging, all of those things that you can't get every single thing donated. So donations make all of that happen.
Yes.
And can people make a direct donation at charlie22outdoors.com?
Yes, there's a link on our website that says donate, and that takes you right to a spot. I think it's PayPal that you can do a donation. I've learned recently Messenger has a way to donate to us, and so does
great.
Facebook. And they don't charge anything there. That's pretty cool. Facebook and Messenger are actually free avenues for people to donate to us, since we're a nonprofit.
Wow.
Checks in the mail. I get checks monthly from people now. People send it, meet me and give me cash to different places. But the easiest way, if you want to do it online, is going to be our website or Facebook or Messenger. And I'd like to say this too, that all of our events are no expense to the veterans and their families. We pay everything from travel to lodging to tags, licenses, meals. The guides all volunteer their time. So this is all, everything that comes to us financially is used to make this ministry go, because we don't charge them a penny.
I love that, because I'm sure there are veterans that feel like no one cares.
Oh, yeah.
And this is proof that people do, and you're going to show that love. I want to make this commitment right now. I want to make Charlie 22 a sponsor of the Gun Shop Show, free of charge. I'll donate that. We'll put a sponsor listing right there, and we'll create an ad in the show to support Charlie 22 that will air. So
thank you.
It's been so great to have you on. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Previous episodes and more available at gunshopshow.com.